again, this house, 1122 King Road, is at the center of controversy in the Bryan Kohberger case, and two new leaked emails, one from the defense and one from the prosecution, is taking front and center.
You kind of want to scream from the mountaintops, just let it be. Leave it alone. Don't touch it until the trial's over.
That several of the families are upset about the idea that 1122 King Road was going to be demolished, right? And they made those concerns very evident to the university.
Obviously, they wanted to see this house come down because they want things to feel normal again there. And you feel for the kids that go there. They want things to feel normal again, too. So I think they wanted this to come down fast, and now there's a bit of an issue with their plan.
Okay, does anybody remember this? This was actually the day that Bryan Kohberger was arrested. Cleaning crews were dismissed from the Idaho murder scene because a court order halted them from cleaning it because they decided not to demolish the house.
If it happens in court where people are discussing the fact that they wish that there was some ability for them to reproduce something, that can't be done because the house is gone.
But retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer says this. Apparently, according to a university spokesperson, 1122 King Road is set to be demolished before the fall semester. She said, "I believe this would be a travesty. Jurors need to visit the crime scene. They want to understand the acoustics, proximal distances, and see Dylan's vantage point, to name a few things that would be important to understanding the evidence. For both the prosecution and for the defense, I hope they do not destroy the house until after the trial." What do you guys think? Should they destroy the house? It's clear the university has a motive. They want it down, as you just heard Bryan Enton say. Jennifer Coffindaffer's pleading this moment, saying, hey, listen, the prosecution and the defense definitely both need it, but it's interesting what these leaked emails say. Bill Thompson from the prosecution actually said this. "Good afternoon. We've discussed this amongst ourselves and with the investigation leadership. We have no objection to the University of Idaho proceeding as you've outlined. As you know, the court has already released the scene from law enforcement custody based on a stipulation of the parties. The scene has been substantially altered from its condition at the time of the homicides, including the removal of relevant property and furniture, removal of some structural items such as wallboard and flooring, and subject to extensive chemical application, creating a potential health hazard. These are some of the reasons we have concluded that a jury view would not be appropriate. Please let us know if you have any questions, and thank you for working with the families." Bill.
I don't understand this rush to take down the house. From the university perspective, from the prosecution perspective, and from the defense, right? So first we'll do prosecution, Jennifer. Why? I know the university wants to get it down because they're afraid that it'll affect people's perception of the campus and campus life, et cetera. But why wouldn't the prosecution say, no, we never know if we're going to need it?
It's surprising to me, Chris. That house needs to stay up there. It's so important for these jurors to understand spacing, to understand what you could hear in that house, to look from Dylan Mortensen's eyes as to what she could have seen and how it all played out. I think it's a terrible move.
Ann Taylor wrote this. "Good evening. I'm writing to let you know that the defense has no objection to the university to cease fit with the residents on King Road. Previously, the defense agreed to release the property. Upon communication with the university, we were asked to weigh in the demolition of the premises. We appreciate the accommodation of one final walkthrough. After the walkthrough, our team discussed the demolition of the premises again and have no objection." Now, this was an email that was sent from Ann Taylor all the way back on April 5th.
From the defense perspective also, Mark, like, I'd want it there. I don't know that I'm not going to hear something in testimony where I'm going to be like, wait a minute, what is this woman able to look around corners? You know, look at the angles here. You know, why lose that possibility?
I couldn't agree more. I think it makes no sense to take it down. If I were the defense, I'd be objecting wholeheartedly and full-throatedly. There's no reason in the world that this should be taken down prior to trial.
The big question for me is this. If every person that's an expert commentating about this case, both on the prosecution and the defense side, says this house needs to stand, then why is the house not standing? Those emails were written way a long time ago, but yet both the prosecution and the defense are pushing for the house to be knocked down. I don't understand it. Somebody help bring some clarity to this situation for me.
Let's not forget that the house isn't in some side neighborhood or way, off the beaten path, not near the university. It's right there. It's right next to the university. The kids walk by it every day. There's all sorts of apartments around it. I mean, it's like a focal point. So it's clear why they would want to bring it down.
It's the house in Idaho where 4 college kids were brutally murdered. It's been boarded up since the killings last November. But now there's talk of tearing it down. And that is infuriating the families of some of the victims who think it could still be an important piece of evidence in the upcoming trial.
It's the House of Horrors where those 4 University of Idaho students were brutally butchered, allegedly at the hands of Bryan Kohberger. Now, that murder scene is the scene of controversy because the University of Idaho wants to tear it down as a step toward healing. But the families of the slain students say not so fast. Victim Kaylee Gonzalez's father, Steve, thinks the house should not be torn down before the trial because the jury may want to visit the crime scene.
If it happens in court where people are discussing the fact that they wish that there was some ability for them to reproduce something, that can't be done because the house is gone.
Shannon Gray is representing the families.
You kind of want to scream from the mountaintops, just let it be. Leave it alone. Don't touch it until the trial's over.
The university wants the house gone by the start of the fall semester.
They ask us, and what do you think about demoing it? And we say, don't do it. And they say, thanks, we're demoing it.
A cleaning crew and a moving van were seen outside the house this week in preparation for the demolition.
We have made it very clear to the University of Idaho that we do not want that house to be demolished, and they are ignoring us completely. And when I say ignoring them, I mean that they respond and they say, okay, yeah, we understand what you're saying, but basically tough cookie. We're going to go ahead forward with it because they say that it's for the good of the community and good for the University of Idaho. It's not. It's not the good for the community. It may be good for the University of Idaho for everyone to hurry up and forget that there was a murder that occurred right off campus, but it's not for the victims' families. And that's a massive piece of evidence. And we've stressed to them over and over. The Carnudo family, the Mogan family, and the Gonzalez family do not want that house to be demolished. And they're moving forward anyway. They just don't really care. It's always been a little bit of a hurry up and grieve. We need to move on as the University of Idaho. I know that the prosecution and the defense have released, and the court has released the home to the University of Idaho because neither party has made any objection to the demolition of the home.
The home was processed by Idaho State Police and held for many months. It's been under guard 24 hours a day since the morning of the murders. At one point, it was going to be released to the property owners, but the court halted that process at the request of the defense. The families are concerned it could still be needed for trial.
A big piece of evidence that, potentially a jury might want to see it. There's sights and sounds and viewpoints and angles. It's an odd shaped house where witnesses were standing, where, potentially the defendant was standing, locations, how you could hear something, how you couldn't hear it, if there was video or any other evidence outside, what was the vantage point of those videos, if they picked up audio or anything. A lot of things I think are important about that home. And we've just stressed, just hold on. Wait till the trial is over, then do whatever you want with the property. But they will not listen. And it's frustrating for myself and the families and them not really hearing us, but acting like they are. We want to let people know that we are adamantly against them demolishing that home, even though they have every right to do so. If they think that they're doing it on behalf of the community or the victims' families, it's not true. They think it's for the best of the community and the best for the University of Idaho.
So what do you think? Should the house come down, or is there something greater at work here?